Hello, good morning, everyone. So today we're going to tackle our fifth lesson for this quarter, and this is entitled Analytical Listening in Problem Solving. Okay, so for the first slide, it says here that listening is one of the most underrated macro skill. So in English, we have 5 macro skills, and these are included in the pictures below. The first one is reading, the second one is listening, the third one is speaking, and the fourth one is writing. And the fifth one is called viewing, and this is the latest. Now, macro skills are divided into 2 skills. The first one is receptive skill. It means that this is the skill that's passive. We're not doing anything as the interactor in the um, material. So what are the receptive skills? What are the receptive macro skill? So the receptive macro skills are 3. The first one is reading, the second one is listening, and the third one is viewing. We're not doing anything. So when we say receptive skill or passive skill, the second category of macro skill is called expressive skill. So there are 2 macro skills in English that are categorized under expressive skill. The first one is speaking. Number 2 is writing. It's called expressive because of the word express, as the a person involved in the interaction between the material or the text. What we are doing is that we are expressing our own thoughts about the material that we have received, read, or listened, or heard. So, yes. Number 2, let's talk about the importance of listening in problem solving. So what's the importance of listening? The first importance of listening as future researchers is, number 1, it helps us to gather details and collecting information. Not only do we refer to reference materials such as scholarly articles, books, magazine and newspaper articles, government documents, and reference materials. We also look for videos, audio texts, and movies, reports, speeches, songs for our research paper, because they are also part of source of information, not just the printed ones. So yes. What are the examples of listening texts? The first one is speech. Second is song. Number 3, live interviews. And the fourth one is audio texts. So those are also called sources of information. Okay, let's talk about more about analytical listening. When we say analytical listening, it is called critical or active listening. Why? Later we will know why is it called active listening. Because it deals with one's ability and capacity to carefully and properly analyze the sounds listened to. So I want you to know the difference between hearing and listening. When we say hearing, this is just plain reception of sound, and this is involuntary. We tend to hear sounds whether we like it or not because it is a physical response activated by our auditory nerves. And when we say listening, listening means we are comprehending, we are understanding what are we listening, or what are the things that we are hearing. For example, your teacher asks you to view this video about uh, KMJS. So it involves analytical listening, because at the end of the video you will write or answer different questions regarding that, so you have to understand. Basically, that's the concept of analytical listening. So we have 3 features of analytical listening. The first one is the ability to distinguish and categorize information. So when we say analytical listening, it also means, in the first slide that we read, it means active listening. So we're not just hearing things, because it's involuntary. We are intentionally listening to something to get an information about it, and it requires you it the person is called an analytical listener if they are able to categorize and distinguish an information. They are able to distinguish whether it is a fact, whether it is a hoax, or and they are able to categorize it too. The second feature of analytical listening is providing significant and evaluative feedback. When you are actively participating in a listening text, it means that um, you are comprehending it, and at the back of your mind you are able to um, provide significant feedback because of course you're listening, you're involving your brain in understanding and comprehending the text. You can say something about it. So you are called an analytical listener if you can provide significant feedback. Not just any feedback, like answering yes or no. You are able to provide a detailed and significant feedback about the text listened to. The third feature of analytical listening is called rephrasing. So the first feature that we talked about, and the second one, and this third one is related to that. So you're able to if you can rephrase or restate an information that you listened to or you heard, then you understood the text, because you cannot say something that you do not really understood or not able to understand. All right, so we have 5 stages in analytical listening. When we say sequential, it means that it has a pattern, it has a path, direction that should be followed. The first one is called receiving stage. The word here, um, the the word that we have to listen to, or you have to remember, is the word hearing process, the actual hearing process. So when we say receiving stage, we have to remember the phrase actual hearing process. This is just the plain reception of sounds in our brain and in our ear. We just hear the sound. The second stage is called understanding stage. This is the stage where we can generate meaning. So the keyword here is meaning. So after receiving the sound, number 2, you can now understand. Your brain is now processing what you have heard. The third one is called evaluating stage. When you say evaluating stage, this is the stage where the listener and speaker meet in between. And you're able to, as a listener, you're able to process and examine what you understood in the text. Number 4 is called responding stage. This is where, it's from the root word response. This is where the speaker is able to give, no, the listener is able to give verbal and or non-verbal feedback. What's the difference between verbal or non-verbal feedback? When you say verbal, you express your thoughts or response. When we say non-verbal feedback, these are the non you don't express your thoughts by saying it, but by doing some actions like raising your eyebrows, by nodding. So you are responding in that way. Number 5, and I forgot to put it in the PowerPoint, it's called remembering stage. Of course, from the root word remember, um, this is the stage where you are storing the information that you heard in your brain. Next one, let's talk about analytical listening as a helpful strategy in problem solving. So it says here, in solving a problem in a listening text, the first task is to identify the problem. So how can you spot the problem in each listening text? So the first one is to do this. Find the answers for the following WH questions. So, when your teacher asks you to listen to a song, you have to know that before listening to the song, you have to keep in your mind that I should know who, where, what, when, why is the song produced, or it says here who, to whom is the song addressed to, and who is the speaker, like that. And where is the setting of the story in the song, because basically songs are poems. What is the song all about? Why is this song why is this song made? When it is made, and how is the process? How did the author or the songwriter produce the song? So basically those. So 4 steps in problem solving. In solving a problem for a listening text, American Society for Quality proposed 4 steps. So the first one is number one is defining a problem. So in every problem solving cases, you always have to identify the problem, because if there's no problem, then there's nothing to be solved. It's not a problem in the first place. So define the problem, find the problem. Number 2, generate alternative solutions. So upon spotting the problem, you have to think of varied solutions to address your problem. Number 3, evaluate and select an alternative. So you have, for example, you have 4 alternative solutions. For this stage, for the third stage, you have to evaluate what is the best solution among the 4. And the fourth stage is to, after you um you choose your solution, you have to implement and follow up on the solution. All right, let's talk about the activities in your module. So learning task 1, it's called Analytical Listening and Problem Solving. In page 33, you have to answer the questions. So how can you answer the questions? You have to read first the SONA statement in your module on page 23, and that's 2 points each. You can't answer the question unless you pay attention to it. So, yes. You have to read this first to answer this one. This is just plain problem solving text. Number 2, learning task 2. So here, you just have to match column A with column B. What is the meaning of each stages that we have learned? Number 3, you have to listen to a song, and not necessarily like listen, but you are required to read the song Where is the Love by Black Eyed Peas. And you have to identify 5 problems there. So, in every problem, you have to propose a solution on the right table. So, read this song and then spot the problem here, and propose a counter solution. Learning task 6. So, what are you going to do here? Using the same song, Where is the Love, on page 26. Among the 5 problems that you proposed, you have to only choose one, so that you think is significant nowadays, and reflect on the possible solutions to this problem. So I want you to read the rubrics below, and you have to do this. You have to search for the internet to find ways on how to develop your text. For example, you chose terrorism among the 5 problems. So you have to search on the Google more about terrorism, its disadvantages to the children, to the economy, and to the education, health sector, everything. Just so you can provide a significant feedback and provide your source. Where did you get this? Okay, so for your first quarter project, we have two. The first is job interview on week 8, and it doesn't I changed my mind. We're not only doing job interview. This is just a casual conversations. So I will know how effective are you in speaking and using the language. The second one is portfolio in English. So I will give back all your modules on the 8th week, and then you have to compile it, you have to submit it to me, and that's it. So I would like to end my discussion. I'd like to end my discussion using this quotation. Always look on the bright side. Always search be and radiate positivity, because we have to be positive in these trying times. And that's all for our lesson for today. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Thank you and goodbye.